Hi, this is Rick Bernauer, Senior Systems Consultant with CyTek Corporation, here to provide you with a quick demonstration of the Worldox GX4 document management software. I'm going to be using the Microsoft Word program as a way to be able to demonstrate how Worldox can pop up when you're doing a file save, and also how you would work with it when you want to do a file open. Worldox can work with a whole variety of different software, not only the Microsoft Office suite, but Adobe Acrobat, WordPerfect, or literally dozens or even hundreds of other programs that the integration is available with. Inside of Microsoft Word, when Worldox is running, Word continues to operate as it always has, except when you're doing a file open or a file save, some function that would normally pop up that dialog box allowing you to go and search for a document. Worldox will come up with its own screens at that point to prompt you through saving or doing a search for documents. I'm going to take this document that I've created and then do a file save. I could either do that by the quick toolbar that's available inside of Word by doing the File pull-down menu there and selecting Save As, getting that. But when I do that, Worldox will appear and give me what's called a profile screen. It allows me to fill in information about this document. This can be customized by each office and have different areas, or what they call cabinets, where you could save documents. So for example, right now I'm in a cabinet called Client Files that's asking me for pieces of information like what client and matter is this document for, what type of document, who was the author or typist. Again, this is all customizable. You don't need to use these fields. You could have just, one field of information if you wanted that, or entirely different. But if you had different areas, even in this office, instead of having just the client files available, you could do a pull down and say, I want human resources out there, and then it would be by employee ID, document type, typist. Any of these can be customized so that you can keep track of the information that's important to you to be able to locate documents later on. I'll go back to that client files area there as my kind of default area where I can save documents. Worldox pops up, and at first it's giving me what is the description or the name of this document. This is the same as the long file name you've always given to documents. You can type in information out there. And put in the name of the document as you would want. You can actually, in addition to typing in the long file name, you can push the Enter key, and Worldox will open up an additional field called Comments, where you can type in additional comments about this document. So that other people who open this document would see that note. This is a rough draft, don't send it outside the office, so they'd know the state of this document. So you can give a document a long file name just like you always have, but you can also give it additional comments. You can decide what cabinet it would be stored in, and these are linked to areas on your server. So this could be a particular folder area on your server where all the client files are stored. And then we can set up a list of the clients out there. Worldox gives us many ways to be able to look those up. I could actually click on the word client, and it would show me a list of all the clients that I have set up and defined in the system. This can be integrated so that it pulls that information from your billing system, or if you can create a comma-separated value, a CSV file, that can all be imported one time or even on a daily basis into the system as you add new client matters out there. Now, we also don't have to just look it up by clicking on this. We can type into that field and just say, I know this is work I'm doing for the city of Mesa, and I type in something, it will look up that client and let me fill in the information. Now it does this because most people go by the name of the client, but often it's linked to a client ID number out there because it's perhaps linked to a billing system or some other system you want. Inside of Worldox, this client right now, what looks like a number is actually just a code. It could be letters, numbers, alphanumeric, so you could use clients' names, you could use projects, names, whatever you want out there. It just can be up to 12 characters long, but then you can have a long, full description for who that client is. Once we've filled in the client, because I have them linked together, if I click on matter, I'm seeing just the matters for that particular client, and then I could select that, and it fills it in. Notice as I fill those in, it shows me in green over here, this is a valid client and valid matter. Now it does that so that the user knows they've selected a code or a value from the list that is going to be accepted, so they haven't done a typo. And it also, I can make some of these fields be optional, or I can make them be required so that users have to fill them in as they're saving them out there. I can also just start typing in out there, and as I typed in CON, it knew that that could only be document type contract, and then auto completes that for me. As I move my way through each one of those fields, I can fill them out that way. So Worldox makes it very easy to be able to look up and complete those fields. It also has the option where on the pull down arrows over here, it shows you the clients, doc types, or whatever that you've recently used. So it allows you to be able to pull those up very quickly. Once you've filled in these pieces of information that are, again, are totally customizable, you can decide which ones you want out there, you're ready to save it. You've given the document a name, optional comments, and then filled in these pieces of information. And if you say okay, it then saves that document out of the system. It'll actually show you the long file name that you gave that, and then in parens it has a document ID number. And what this is every document in Worldox is assigned a unique ID number that stays with that document throughout its life on your system. This makes it easy for the computer to be able to go and look that up. If you know the number, you could look up the document by it, but most people are using the name of the document, what client it was for, something like that, as they do their searches. Now, if I was to make edits to this document, I can just save over the top of it, as you always would in Word, but if you do a file save as, Worldox comes up and gives you options. It says, well, this is how you saved this document before into this particular client and matter. And at the bottom, it gives us options. Do you want to replace that? In other words, just right over the top, save right over the top of the document. Very normal thing to do. You might just do that. But it also tracks and allows you to save versions of a document. So I could select that I wanted to save this version, but before I did that, I could come up here and say, you know what, this is the final version, ready to send, so that others could see that note as well, and then I could save that as version 2. It saves it into the system, and then actually shows me with the -2 that there are 2 versions of this document. The original is saved as it was, and then this other version's there as well. And you could continue to save more versions. If I made another edit out there and then did a save as, Worldox would know that that now should be version 3 of this document. It will let you save up to 255 versions of a document. So hopefully that would be enough to be able to track all the different versions that you might have. Now, in addition to that, we also have the capability of doing a save as new file. You might use that if you had just pulled up a document and wanted to make changes, but then save it for an entirely different client or matter or something like that. It just fills in the information as it was, but then you could change any and all and then click OK. The original document is still there. This is just saving it as a whole new file out there. Now on this screen, There are other options. I'm not going to go into all of them, but you can customize this screen so that you could allow users to save outside of Worldox, to be able to save to their My Documents or onto their desktop. Some offices decide, no, we want to have people save inside of Worldox, and so you may not include that button. We also have options down here to be able to add security to a document so that we could set up criteria and say, I want to make this document so I'm the only one who can edit it. It's read-only to everyone else. Or I could even make it be invisible so no one else even knows this document exists. Or you can set up custom security rights and say, I, as the owner of this document, can do everything. Everyone else can't even see it exists, but I'm going to add a couple of users out there and give them rights into this document. And so I could then say that they have the right to edit it, read it, and do whatever, but I won't give them the right to delete it or change its security. These can be tied so that they will synchronize with the Windows Active Directory security settings and apply at the network level as well. Now, we also have the capability out there of setting up different defaults so that if I wanted, so that every time I saved a document, perhaps it just came up and filled in with me as the author and as the typist, I could then make those the defaults and it would save those settings out there so that every time I saved, I didn't have to fill that information in, be able to save it. There are also features out here that make entry of this information even faster. For example, quick profiles can be set up that will fill in these fields with saved values. So if I said, I know I'm going to be doing a lot of work with this Nathan management group, I could set up a quick profile for them, which is fairly easy to do. I just click on the plus sign and then define entry out there for them with the proper client and matter that I want. And then I could fill in or leave these other fields blank as appropriate. And that way, later on, when I decide to use that, I could double click and it would fill in all those fields as I wanted them filled in. And each user can customize these as they want to be able to fill them in. Worldox also has a feature they call favorite matters. It actually should be probably thought of, rather than being your favorite matters, as being your recent matters, because it's remembering the ones that you've worked with recently and automatically adding them to this list. That way, if you worked with a particular project or client yesterday and you're going to do some more work today, rather than having to look up these fields, you could just click on the favorite matter, find that particular client and matter, double click, and it changes and fills in the fields appropriate for it. The whole idea is that it's pretty simple to be able to save documents. When you click on the save, you just fill in the long file name, comments if you want, and then fill in the fields that you have customized out here for you, and then click the save, and it allows you to save it into it. This helps standardize things, guides users through how they should save them, but still gives them the capability of having in different areas to be able to save. You could have a personal area that only they have the access to. You could have an administrative area, client area, research area, any kind of cabinets that you want to have out there. Very easy, very fast to be able to save documents into Worldox. The next part is, what if you wanted to go and search for a document? So I'm going to close this file out. When you do a file open, or file open this way, instead of getting the standard screen letting you browse, Worldox brings up a search screen. This screen brings up and shows me some documents that perhaps I've worked with recently as a starting point. But if I want to go look for a document, it gives me multiple ways to search for them. One, just so you know, is Worldox does allow you to go out and say, I want to actually see all the folders out there for different clients and things, and it will show them to you. Worldox is still creating and maintaining folders out there, and for people who like to browse and look through folders, they can select those, double click, and then see the documents that are in that folder area. I don't recommend that as the best and fastest way to search for things, because Worldox gives you other means, but it is available. It also tracks your favorite and recent matters that you have worked with, so that rather than being the full list of everything for your particular office, if you click on the favorite matters, it just shows you the client matters, projects, however you save documents that you've worked with recently. And if you double click on that, it takes you to that folder and just shows you those documents. Again, there are faster ways to be able to get to documents in Worldox, and the two that I'd like to show you are the direct access and this advanced find. Direct access is a very simple, fast way to look for things. It just is asking you, in this scenario, what client and what matter are you looking for? And so I could come out here and search, find the client that I want, select the matter, in this instance that I was interested in. And then when I say okay, it shows me all the documents and emails, JPEGs, anything that have been saved out there for this particular client and matter. Now, one of the real advantages is it brings up everything for that client matter. And sometimes, that could be, as in this instance, 22 documents out there, but it could bring up 200 or 2,000, depending on your way you've stored your documents. And that might be more than you would want to scroll through out here. Now, Worldox does allow you to change the sort order of this list. Right now, they are sorted alphabetically by the name of the document, and I could scroll through them that way. But I could also come over here and say, no, I'd rather have them organized out here, perhaps by who the author was, and then have them organized in that way. Or I could add new fields out there and say, I'd like to be able to see them organized by the type of document that they are, and then sort them in that way as well. Worldox does have the ability to be able to customize that sort order and view them in all sorts of ways with multiple sort orders out there, so that you can have primary, secondary, and tertiary sort orders as well. In addition to that, with just a list of documents, you can click on this tile view, and it brings up and breaks it out because I was sorted by the type of document. It brings up and gives me just one tile or panel showing here's all the agreements, here's the briefs, here's the email messages, and I can work on each one of those areas as I want. Each user can decide if they like this view, or they can go back to the standard view out there. One feature I do want to make sure to mention down here is what's called the Worldox filters option. And if I did a search like that direct access, which showed me all of the documents for that particular client matter, when I click on filters, it brings up and it goes through and organizes this list showing me all the different document types that are available out there on the documents that it found. And it's saying 6 of them are agreements, 5 of them are briefs, 8 of them are emails. Only 1 exhibit, but I have 2 letters. If I was just interested in the letters, I could put a check mark next to that, and it immediately filters down and gives me just those. But if I also wanted to have the agreements included, I could include that as well. And now my list is both letters and agreements. This is similar to being able to create subfolders on demand, so that you don't have to silo documents into subfolders to keep track of them. When you click on filters, it lets you filter in any way you want out there, including I can say I want just these types of documents, but they have to be by this particular author, and that way it has to meet all of these criteria to be able to appear on my list that I have out there. Very handy to be able to use that filters feature, especially with the direct access. Now, the more advanced binocular search feature inside of Worldox allows you to save searches that you might do a lot, but you can also bring up and then be able to go through and search by any of the different criteria that I have out there. I could say, I just want to see documents that are out there that are document type contract out there, but maybe they also need to be by RMB as the author. And right now they are connected logically so that it will only show me the documents when I do a search that meet both of those criteria, be able to bring those up. Now, I also have the capability of searching out there and saying, I'd like to see all the documents that have a certain word within the name of the document, and that, or in that additional comments field, and it would search and find all of those. And I could also do a search which was based not on the name or the comments field, but that text in file. So if I say I want to find every document that has Enron somewhere in the text of the document itself, the PDF, if it's been OCR'd, the email, it'll go out and do a search. And not only does it find the documents, but it shows me a small snippet from the document so that I can get context and be able to see what, if that was the document I want. That's what this viewer is for up here as well. If I click on that, it not only is going to have shown me the list, but it opens up and shows me and lets me view into the document right there so that I could go through and look into different documents, emails, to be able to get to them. And if it was an actual Word document, it pulls it up and it highlights the occurrences where what I was searching for happened inside the document. And I can actually click, highlight, and then copy to a clipboard without actually even having to open the document, so that I could then paste that particular paragraph, if that's what I wanted, into another document or email, work with it from right there. So when you're doing your searches out there, Worldox gives you many different options to be able to use the direct access, the advanced find, be able to view and find documents. So it makes finding documents quick and easy, very easy to be able to use Worldox to be able to find it. I'd be glad to demonstrate and show you other features regarding Worldox in more detail, but I wanted to give you a quick overview so that you could see what Worldox could do, how it could work for you. If you have additional questions, please give me a call, drop me an email, let me know. I'd be glad to answer your questions. Thanks so much. You have a great day.